Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Education Insights Daily, a proud division of EdTalks Daily. I'm Dr. Josh Mack, and today we're exploring a bold topic, the future of education, what schools will look like in 2030. Get ready as we unpack cutting-edge innovations, real-world trends, and game-changing possibilities that redefine schools as we know it. We'll dive into AI-powered learning environments, immersive field trips, and equity-driven school designs. By the end, you'll rethink what education could and should be. So what does future of education mean today? It's not just about tablets and Zoom classes. It's about reimagining learning as accessible, adaptive, and equity-driven, powered by both technology and human connection. Let's explore examples that illuminate our path forward. Here's a case study, AI-powered personalized learning. Roll the clip now.
I am Nearly Noel, a synthesized avatar, here to help with the introduction. Get ready to meet the incredible Noelle Russell. She's not your ordinary technologist. She's a game changer. With her entrepreneurial spirit and expertise in conversational AI, generative AI, and language models, Noelle has revolutionized the tech industry. But here's the best part. Noelle is so much more than her professional achievements. She's a true inspiration for balancing work and family life. As a wife and mother of 6, she embodies the definition of courage and determination. Get ready to be blown away by Noelle's spectacular journey. Join me in welcoming the phenomenal Noelle Russell.
The crowd goes wild. So excited to be here with you. I had an amazing opportunity to present a demo session during Build, and this is how we kicked it off, so I wanted to share it with you as well. But I also think it's pretty cool to start any AI session, especially a demo session, with a little bit of deep fake action. So this, of course, you can see is built with a HeyGen tool, but there's so many different ways to play around with the technology that we're going to talk about today. I am focusing, though, today's discussion all around personalized education. One, you heard I'm a mom of 6. I know sometimes I just let that sink in a little bit, but I want to make sure that I, as someone who's building, and thinking about education, not just for my kids, but also for myself, how do we manage kind of learning more? I mean, obviously the world is changing. AI is accelerating. How do we just keep up? And so a lot of these things, though, I am going to talk about it from the perspective of education and maybe even specifically students. A lot of these things you can apply to yourself. Now, before we even get started, I do like to give you a chance to connect with me. So this is my LinkedIn. You can either just go and Google me or Bing me and find me on LinkedIn, or you can scan this QR code. I'll take you right to my LinkedIn page. But I encourage you to connect with me instead of just follow, so we can be friends and you can ask questions about anything that comes up. I also am happy to share any of the links and resources that we have and that I'm going to share with you today. Now, I usually like to share a little bit about the backstory, why I'm here, why I care about this problem. I already shared a little bit about it with you. That's my gaggle of humans you see there on the screen, all 6 of them, and my husband. It's actually very difficult to get us all in the same picture. So one, you might have to try and figure it out, is actually photoshopped. But I do a lot of what I do for my family, and my son actually 20 years ago, he just turned 19. So 19 years ago, I was a mom for the very first time. And I remember I had my son and I was so excited, and he gets whisked off to the intensive care unit. And I don't know what's happening. I'm a first-time mom, and a doctor comes in and tells me that he's been diagnosed with Down syndrome. And he must have seen the look of concern on my face, because he was kind of like, oh no, don't worry. This isn't your first, you don't have to start your motherhood journey this way. There are people on site right now, institutions waiting to take your child, and they can take care of your child and give a nice life for him. Or there's families that will adopt your child. You don't even have to take them home. And 2 things immediately went through my mind. One, I'm a Latina. I come from a Latin family. My abuela, my grandmother, would have probably hit me with a shoe if I did not come home with my baby. But the second thing is that I'm a technologist. And as a technologist, I see through the lens of technology to solve problems I care about. And personalizing education, this is a big one. So I have used the technology we're about to talk about in multiple stages of its infancy, and I'm so excited to share with you some of the evolution we've seen just in the last couple of years as we've moved into the world of generative AI. Now, my journey into artificial intelligence actually started about 10 years ago. I got an email from Jeff Bezos. Okay, I didn't get the email. He actually sent it to like the whole company, but I felt like it was speaking to me, and it was to join this brand new team, the Amazon Alexa team. And that was the first time I really recognized the value of being able to just talk to your tech. And in the world of personalized education, this is a big part of the solution. So I'm going to take you through kind of the three pillars I've uncovered, not just as a person who's constantly learning myself. I have a kind of internal personal principle of learn by doing, be curious, learn and put my fingers on a keyboard to actually acquire the knowledge that I want. But also having so many kids, I have been exposed to lots of different types of humans trying to learn. And how do I just make their journey of learning better? So there's three different things that have really shown itself to be kind of pillars to this process. And then I want to, this is a demo session, so I want to demonstrate for you the technology. Now, of course, these demos might work. They also might not work. We'll just see how it goes. Either way, it's going to be fascinating. I'm going to encourage you to do the exact same tests I'm going to do it on your own machine. Everything that I demonstrate for you in this demo session is something that you can go and do. I think one of them you might have to buy a subscription for, but I'll tell you why that might be a nice thing to do anyway. So let's get started. The first pillar of learning is how my son, my firstborn son, Max, right? He was born with Down syndrome. He put me on this path of using assistive technology to aid in learning. And I realized that, yes, it was incredibly important for him. It helped escalate and elevate his ability to learn, but it also created this opportunity for my other children who were typically developing to also amplify their ability to learn. Like everything we did for Max helped every one of my other kids, helped me, even myself. And so I want to share one of those tools with you. It's called Cephable. So I'm going to actually go and open it right now. You can go to Cephable. Right now, the nice thing about Cephable is it's actually built for companies to enable organizations to add this kind of capability for all of their employees. But as a gift service, they offer this to individuals, for individuals to try as well. So I'm going to go and open up Cephable. You can see it here. I've already pre-framed it a little bit. I obviously need to apparently verify my email because I just downloaded this thing, but it did allow me to create a profile. And in this profile, you can see it says PowerPoint navigation. So I created a profile to help me navigate my PowerPoint deck, which I happen to be in right now talking to you. So I have two ways to do that. I can use voice commands, which allow me to say next or previous and navigate it with my voice, which is kind of nice that I'm not talking to a human and telling them to switch my slides. But another thing I can do is actually use my facial expressions or head gestures. So let me share that with you now. I'm going to start my camera. I don't know. I think it'll work. Oh yeah. So you can see here, it's like seeing my face. I'm going to now put the focus back on my PowerPoint presentation. And what the PowerPoint navigation profile does is I basically mapped, you can actually see it now. If I tilt my head to the right, it says on the top that I've done that. So the model's detecting that I'm tilting my head right or left, but at the bottom, you'll see it actually is bound to a key binding. And so you can imagine, I love this story. Actually, there is the founder of the company ended up creating this product because they saw their brother working and playing around with this, with a game. I think it was Minecraft or Roblox or something. And they struggled because of their disability. They struggled to keep up with their friends running around Minecraft. And so he created this, eventually became Cephable, this tool to help people who have disabilities that maybe only have limited movement, limited capability to use a keyboard and a mouse to map what they can control, their facial expressions, their maybe smiling, not smiling, opening your eyes, raising your eyebrows, tilting your head, even the most limited capability of gesture control to be able to control, not just, I'm going to use it to control PowerPoint, but imagine it being able to allow you to game at the speed of everyone else, or allow you to do other things on your device, in your computer, manage games, write code. I mean, really cool stuff. So I'm going to now shift control over here and see, hopefully, if now that the focus is here, I'm going to go back a little bit. And if I tilt my head, you see, and then I'm going to tilt it and go all the way back, because now you have a chance to connect with me again in case you're like, oh my gosh, Noelle, that was pretty cool. I want to be your friend. So here you go. And now I could just gently tilt my head, and it allows me to control the screens. So this is really cool. And imagine, so what I first immediately thought of is, as a programmer, I often forget to save my code. I just did it the other day. It's so frustrating when something happens and you lose all your work. So I ended up creating a Cephable profile that when I would say a word, it would automatically save, or when I would open my mouth, it would save. And I actually found out that I open my mouth a lot. So it ended up being too many saves simultaneously, especially in some coding systems that it takes a while to save. So I ended up playing around with it. But imagine a thing that's hard for you to remember that you can map to key bindings. It's so neat. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off just so we can see it. But definitely take an opportunity to work with Cephable. Download it. It's free and available for any individual to increase their ability. One of the things you can do is you can manage sensitivity in the application as well. So if you have super limited movement, but maybe only on one side of your body, you can actually tell it to be super sensitive on the left side and not as sensitive on the right. There's so many capabilities that you can do. And imagine if you could create a set of key bindings that help you play Minecraft and then map those key bindings to how you code in VS Code. And you could just say, open VS Code and start coding, and you don't have to bring in any other configurations, do any kind of modifications. It all just seamlessly works. The magic behind this type of accessibility capability, this technology, one of the things I announced at Build, or was part of the announcements that I reiterated in my demo session, was that we now have this new thing, the Copilot PC, and in it, there's a NPU. Right, a neural processing unit. And what this allows you to do is completely eliminate what we call the kind of the assistive tax, the disability tax, right? If you try to add assistive technologies to your computer before having neural processing units, and certainly before having GPUs, all of the tax of using that technology would actually sit on your CPU, and you couldn't do very much, certainly not simultaneously. But now I ended up demoing how you could watch your CPU when you use this tool. It's going to actually deflect all of the processing needed to do computer vision inferencing in real time and deflect it to a secondary processor. So you can continue to play your game, have 20 tabs open on Edge, and code in VS Code all at the same time without the tax often having to be consumed by us using that technology in real time. It's pretty amazing. So I hope you'll go and check it out. So that's the first thing, is how do I use this technology, not just to help my son have a better experience in education, but also to help anybody, right? And I do think that, I think it's so important that this company like Cephable ended up spending time really building for a community with a community, right? They really integrated from the very beginning, from the brother having trouble, being able to really build technology for people with disabilities, but integrating people with disabilities right into that workflow of designing and building the product. So look them up, do a little bit of research. That's kind of the first pillar, is how do you leverage assistive technologies to enhance? And obviously there's tons of AI in that, computer vision. There's also, in order to build a profile, you can use generative AI to help you build the profile in case you don't know what key bindings to select. It's really cool. So I hope you'll check it out. The second thing that I ended up demoing was how to help build your own learning path, custom learning paths. Now, I'm going to give you an anecdote of something. I'm actually working on the demo right now because back to school is, dare I say it, only 6 weeks away. And I want to give a tool to some of my teachers that will be educating my kids. And one of them is the art of personalizing education. If you are a kind of probably kindergarten through 8th grade, maybe kindergarten through 6th grade, oftentimes the teachers will ask students to go fill out a form. And when they fill out that form, the form that they use is often on paper. And it's what's your name? Do you have any siblings? What do you like? What's your favorite color? Do you like songs? What do you enjoy doing most, right? It's a way for the teacher to learn more about the student. But imagine if we could take those papers and in the world of like a GPT 4.0, right, or a Azure OpenAI service, which now has the GPT 4.0 model, I just deployed one yesterday, right, we could build a model that allows us to pass in all of those forms that we got our kids to fill out as teachers. Wouldn't that be amazing? And then just tell the model based on every individual student, first, create me a database to hold all my students. Second, create me an individualized learning path based on the Common Core curriculum for third grade. And poof, it will do it. I encourage you to just try it. This is with zero training whatsoever. It won't necessarily be perfect, but it will be way better than anything we could have done a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago for sure. So something to think about, right? Like these are things that now I always ask people in education, like what's a problem you wish you just could do better? And oftentimes it's they wish they could accommodate kids who aren't documented as having like any specific needs, like they don't have an IEP, maybe they don't have a 504, or if they do, how do they accommodate all those people? How do they make sure that they're doing the right thing at the right time and leveraging a model like the new Omni model to gather information from their students, embed it or ingest it just by taking those pictures and uploading them as files, and then letting the model give them advice and give them guidance and give them ideas? Like, it's pretty incredible. Another option, though, is I have a tool that I've been using called Plan Roadmap. And this is a video because I wanted to make sure it went seamlessly, but you can go and try this tool, planroadmap.com. I'm just going to play it so you can kind of see how it works. But it is built for those with ADHD. And I happen to have ADHD, so I find it super helpful. But it's good for everyone. I find all my kids need help with this. You can see here, it guides the user on different selections. It also provides motivational breaks. The ADHD brain kind of breaks things up into different ways. It's really motivated by novelty, by YouTube videos, by setting Pomodoro timers. So this tool knows that about you. And here's what I love about it is that it actually, it was built by Imagine Cup participants. These were, I think they were the runner-up or second runner-up, but it was so cool that an Imagine Cup, and if you don't know the Imagine Cup, definitely go look up the competition, but they're students that see a problem and then leverage AI or Microsoft technology to solve it. So they ended up getting this idea like, wow, wouldn't it be great if we could help create executive function mapping for people that struggle with this, typically those with ADHD? Can we create a solution? But remember, we don't build for someone without them, right? We don't build for people with ADHD as an engineer without finding people that have that challenge and integrating them from design to implementation to testing to production. We want them to be partners with us. And so that's what this team did. They went and coordinated and connected and partnered with some of the largest ADHD communities and use them to help fuel the innovation they're doing in this project. So it's really cool stuff. I hope you'll check them out. Again, planroadmap.com is an example of the types of tools you can use to create custom roadmaps. Can you also spend some time and maybe go and build your own generative model, your own deployment? You could either do it inside Azure AI Studio and leverage one of the models very simply, like build a deployment using one of the new ChatGPT extensions, right? Like so GPT 4.0 inside Azure OpenAI. You could do that, or you could go to the model catalog and leverage one of 4,000 models, right? Everything from Llama 2 to any Hugging Face model, right? There's thousands to choose from. So if you don't necessarily want to go the tried and true method of hitting a model that's like ChatGPT, you can go with another model that's smaller and maybe more task specific and build something very similar. But I think as a builder, this was so inspiring to see kids in school thinking about a problem and building something like this. And then most importantly, productizing it. So in order to test this out, you do have to become a paying member. I gladly paid to support them in their effort to build a product for people and serve people. Obviously, no pressure to do that, but if you want to, it's certainly an opportunity to celebrate the success that this team has had. And congratulations again. planroadmap.com team. You guys did amazing. All right. So I'm going to go back for the third and final piece of the presentation. And that is one of the things that I spend a lot of time doing, which is caregivers. I'm a caregiver. I have 6 kids, 2, maybe 3 of them. 3 of them probably have some differences in learning. I call them divergent thinkers. They don't think like everyone else. I'm also a divergent thinker. So it's probably part of their genetic download for me. But how do we help caregivers, moms and dads, parents, grandparents? How do we help them really enable or empower or advocate for the needs of their students? So there's a process, I mentioned it just earlier, called creating an individualized education plan. It's called an IEP. I've gone through it many times. It's very frustrating. Some people completely take their kids out of school because it's so frustrating to go through this process and put them in private school or private tutoring or homeschooling. But that's not the only option. There is an option to actually use generative AI to facilitate this. I ended up bringing on stage at Build one of my friends. Her name is Erin Reddick, and she created a process, a generative model to help us be, as caregivers, navigate this tool. So just know that generative AI has unlocked the ability for us to give, all of the documentation we're getting out of a very detailed process like an individualized education program, and hand it to a model and ask it to provide us guidance, give us good questions to ask, right? It's not going to write the IEP for us, and maybe we want it to one day, but it is going to help us be better participants in the IEP meetings. There's also another one called 504. It's for accommodations in learning. One of my sons has a processing delay. It takes him longer. There's a book out there called Thinking Fast and Thinking Slow. And in this book, I think it's so fascinating because in this book, it talks about thinking fast, thinking slow, and how important it is to kind of recognize both capabilities. And so I honor that oftentimes through accommodations. Like, how do we just give them more time to do the things they need to do? And a generative model can help you form questions that you can use in these types of meetings. So it's been amazing sharing with you some of the cool things I've learned in the personalized education space. I hope you've enjoyed it. I always want to encourage you that when you build responsibly. I actually had the whole audience. I checked to see if they knew this quote. You probably know it too. With great power comes great responsibility. You probably know it. Uncle Ben, or maybe Voltaire, if your persuasion goes a little further back in time. But either way, it's 100% true.
This video shows how AI adapts lessons to individual students' needs, pacing, and preferences, turning learning into a truly personalized journey. This next case study, virtual reality field trips. This looks at another innovation. Virtual reality field trips is a powerful tool. Roll the clip now.
I've probably taken kids on literally about 100 field trips with Act One. The students are always like, where are we going next?
They either take you to in-person field trips like botanical gardens or museums, or we bring the field trips to you guys in the form of virtual reality.
Students love Act One. We've never had, nothing but a smashing success of a field trip.
All right, we are calibrated. Are we ready to roll?
Are you ready? This is not just any field trip. This is an Act One arts immersion.
Act One is a non-for-profit. Our goal is to spread as much art as we can across Arizona public schools.
Currently, I'm in my studio here at home in Tempe, Arizona.
In 2020, we also started our VRS project, which is basically VR field trips, where we go to schools that can't afford buses or maybe have special needs kids or kids that maybe just can't handle being outside the classroom, and be able to go to places like Chicago, museums like they see the Louvre, basically wherever they want, and be able to experience art and learn and talk to people who have like real world experience about what is art and like how it actually is important to them.
We say that our loom is an individual person. It's living and it's breathing.
The moment it was put on my head, it felt like I was transported into a new place.
being able to see that without being there, that was a really cool experience, and it just showed like how things are actually happening out there, you know?
I think I can say I've ever done anything like this in a classroom setting. I mean, it was like a field trip in the classroom.
I'll ask kids, how many of you have been on field trips? And about half of my students have never been on a field trip.
Spider-Man was the first weaver who learned how to construct the loom.
Title I schools typically, like the district doesn't always give them funding where they need, so teachers will have to dig into their
VR tools transport students to places like ancient Rome or even outer space, or from their desks. An Australian VR startup company called Midflight 7 is bringing VR lessons to classrooms, helping students to deeply engage with content and retain information longer. These examples highlight the opportunities, but also the challenges. Access, equity, and thoughtful implementation will determine who benefits the most from these advances. So how do we move from vision to practice? Here are 3 priorities. Number 1, we must educate educators in tech integration. We must educate educators in tech integration, something I have done the bulk of my career, and it's been very influential and very successful for me and the students that I've educated. Number 2, we must close the digital divide, folks, ensuring that every community has access and digital skills and the ability to use them. Doesn't matter where you're at in the community, what are your income levels, poverty or middle class, lower class, whatever the class, we need to make sure that we close the digital gap and the digital divide by making sure that we have access in all of these communities. And number 3, we must prioritize skill-based learning over standardized testing. Hopefully, the portrait of a graduate and the new that New York State is rolling out and their new graduation format allows for prioritizing skill-based learning. Can't wait to see what that's going to look like. Empowered educators and equitable policy are essential for this transformation to take place, folks. So the future of education isn't just about technology, folks. It's about reimagining school as a place for curiosity, inclusivity, and purpose. So what do you think schools should look like in 2030? Here's a quote from the late Alice Morse Earle, a famous American writer who is also known for her famous quotes. And she says, "Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. That's why it's called the present." This optimistic quote represents the past, the present, and the future of AI. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Like this video if you're excited about future-ready learning. And don't forget to subscribe to EdTalks Daily for more deep dives into the future of education.